I faked you guys out, didn't I? Welcome back. Happy to have you guys. We had Steffi on Wednesday, and things were awesome until they weren't awesome, and our stream went offline repeatedly, might I add. So right now, if I was the spokesperson of Streamlabs OBS, they wouldn't want me to be the Streamlabs OBS spokesperson. Um, But anyway, hope everyone's doing well. It's a Saturday. Had a fun stream earlier with Adam. We did the AJ show. If you guys missed it, you can check it out. The AJ show, YouTube channel as well as all social media. As per usual, proud sponsors Manscaped. Go over to manscaped.com. Because this channel is sponsored by them. We got 20% off and free shipping out to our listeners and viewers when you put in promo code JKB or DTR. With that said, how are we all doing today? How is everyone's Saturday going? I know we see Chantry over here pretty hyped about March Madness because the Beavers are in the Elite Eight. I've watched a total of 0 minutes today of March Madness because I'm a Kansas Jayhawk fan, and March just gives me pain. No, and with all, everything considered, I'm just not as really interested, to be honest with you. I used to be very interested, but I'm just not as interested in college basketball anymore. I just think there's too many fouls called, too much reliant on the 3-point, not enough, old school basketball. So, but congrats on your Beavers. Elite Eight's pretty fun. For a Kansas Jayhawk fan, it's nothing until you get to the Final Four, but Elite Eight, go do your thing. Let's see. Jake, do you think the 49ers will draft Trey Lance with the 3rd pick? I don't want them to, but I feel like that's a possibility. Although the cover photo it's Fields. It's Justin Fields. So I think they're actually going to take Justin Fields. But I won't be surprised if it's Trey Lance. What's up, Vector? How we doing? LaMarcus Aldridge, because wow. I'll be honest with you, I haven't really followed the NBA much this year either. I think I did one video early on about LaMelo Ball, and that's it. And I told you guys, I know he got hurt, but LaMelo Ball, I told you, was going to be a pick that was regretted. He was the best player in this draft, and he's proven it. Let's see here. What's up, Shot by Nolan? How we doing? Logan, feel free to tell me about LaMarcus Aldridge because I don't know what's going on. You gotta give me more info on that. Coach T Bates, we will draft a quarterback. My man Kyle never show his hand. Look out, Rams. 3 running quarterbacks in the FC West. Tie them shoes. All right, Coach, who do you want the 49ers to grab? Because if I was a 49ers fan, which I'm definitely not, all day I would say Trey Lance. But you have to let me know what you think because I don't know. I would be extremely happy if the 49ers traded all that up for Mac Jones. As a fan of Alabama, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Mac Jones is a very good quarterback for college. But I don't know if you have an opportunity to go out and get guys like potentially Zach Wilson, potentially Justin Fields, potentially Trey Lance, and you pass on those to grab Mac Jones. I don't know if I can accept that. Also, Mac Jones isn't even my 5th quarterback. That's Davis Mills. So, my Beavs won, so I'm really happy. Yeah, well, congratulations again. What do you think about Richard Sherman to the Rams? That would be intriguing. I like Richard Sherman. I wonder if he would play more of a safety role, considering he is getting up there in age, and they don't really have much on the boundary unless they're going to move Darius Williams inside. I don't really see that happening. Jake, what are we doing at center? Bringing back Austin Blythe, hopefully. And I don't know when that's going to happen, but hopefully it happens soon. Let's see here. Sounds like you're bitter. I mean, losing to 34. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really even bitter because they just didn't deserve to win. I mean, you lose by 34. That's just a joke. So I don't have really much else to say on that. I hope Marcus Garrett comes back. He's the best defender I've ever seen in college. But you know, that's all I can really say on the Jayhawks. Don't get me there, man. Disappointed. Same way I feel about the NBA. Too many soft fouls, too much reliance on the three. Totally agree, Trevor. I feel like that it's that way about basketball. So, I'm kind of over it. Like football doesn't really change. It changes, but it doesn't change. Like the fouls, penalties. They never get too ridiculous. Whereas, I mean, basketball is like they're constantly at the free throw line. I just don't find that fun to watch. Do you think the 49ers will have a quarterback competition, or do you think they'll just have Jimmy G to start and mentor for a year? I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo starts. I think they're going to this quarterback 100%. I think they'll probably trade Garoppolo. I know people suspect the Patriots, but if I'm the Patriots, I go out and get Gardner Minshew. That would be a guy that I'd go after. Mac Jones ain't like that. Yes, please, Mac Jones, Justin Fields. He has been tested. Yeah, to me, I would go with Lance, but I see Fields as well. Don't forget to like and share this video ASAP. Thank you, AZZA. Appreciate your support as always. Appreciate all of you guys supporting me as always. We might do a video game stream later on. Might play some Godfall and I bought Godfall as literally like I don't care about the story. You guys might think I'm weird. I bought the game strictly as a game to stream, so it's content and I can play it, but it's just a hack and slash game that I don't care about the story, so I don't get immersed and I can just talk to you guys the entire time. Hope you understand, because that's how I feel on that. Jimmy will give us a good 6 games, then you switch to the rookie. Just don't throw him into the fire. That's fair. That's fair. I can dig that. Let's see here. I'm only getting YouTube comments, so if anybody's commenting on Facebook or Twitch, which it doesn't look like we have too many people on Facebook or Twitch, just know that I'm not getting your stuff if you're commenting. How can you draft a player who has played only one season, Trey Lance? He had 28 touchdowns and 0 interceptions last year. And Trey Lance is an elite deep ball thrower of the football. He's the best running quarterback in this draft. Ran a pro-style offense. I mean, he's the real deal, man. Accuracy's there, pocket presence, mobility. He's got it all. So I'll say that. But, okay, so title of this was Who Are the 49ers Taking in the NFL Draft? I'll tell you. They are taking, I think it's going to be Justin Fields. I think Fields fits what they want to do. The thing about Fields is while he's faster than Trey Lance, I feel like he's more likely to stay in the pocket than Lance is. I do feel like Lance really likes to run. And Fields to me feels more like Shanahan's breed. Now, Shanahan, for those of you who don't know, hasn't been a huge fan of mobile quarterbacks, but I will say that, Shanahan recently came out and said that he was a fan of, he was starting to become a fan of mobile quarterbacks. He was open to that idea. So I do think that they will take either Lance or Fields. I lean Fields. Might be because I just don't want to see my favorite quarterback prospect and maybe ever go to my arch rival, but that's just me. But hey, you know how it is on here, Coach T Bates. I'm a Rams fan, but I cover the whole NFL, and I don't try to let my bias get in the way of that. So, I hope whoever you want is who they'll draft. So whoever you want the 49ers draft sounds like Fields. I hope you get him. What's up, Dallas? I see you. There we go. Dallas on Facebook. How do I enter? I don't know, but I see you. I can see you typing. What's up, James? How we doing? If they take Jones, I will There we go. Yeah, it does that. So I figured out why it does that. Anytime an alert box comes up, there's a glitch in this program. Again, why I wouldn't recommend Streamlabs OBS necessarily. I'm not saying I should, like, I won't do it because I'll use it because it allows me to have all this HUD. But guys, if you ever get into streaming, nothing is foolproof. Let me just get this. Let me explain this to you right now. Nothing out there is foolproof in the streaming world. Nothing. So that like right there, see, now it's fine. But the glitch earlier muted my mic. The giveaway is not today, Dallas. It is not today. I'm waiting a little bit. We haven't gotten enough people to participate. I'm not going to give something away when we only have like 20 people. So I want to wait until it, really blows up. Let's see here. Mobility is nice, but more important is being able to read defenses and get rid of the ball quickly. I agree with that, which is something Lance does very well. Yeah, so back to what I was saying earlier. Jalen Waddle, to answer your question, Michael, is who the Dolphins, I think, should take at 6. Now, I think they'll probably get Devontae Smith, and I don't think it's a bad pick at all. I mean, he's in my top 3. He's my 3rd receiver. Chase is my 2nd, but I just think Waddle's the best receiver in this class. I think he reminds me, resembles very similar to an Odell Beckham Jr., when he first broke out in the league. I think he can be that level of talent. He's going to be a superstar, I think, and I don't worry too much about, his injury. I'll just say that. Let's see. Trying to down my sorrows of an embarrassing Ireland loss with pizza, LOL. They lost to Luxembourg. Being an Irish soccer fan is a never-ending cycle of pain. Yeah, I know nothing about soccer, but I'm sorry for your loss. And honestly, I wish I could have pizza, but I'm on a meal plan now, so that's not possible. Jake, Kyle is going with a running quarterback because the NFL is going that way. Look at our West Division. No, I agree with you. I was saying that. I think at one point or another, he was against the running quarterback, and now I think he's for it. Yeah, Miami should have pursued Russell Wilson. I'll be honest with you guys. I love yawning. No, I don't. But I'll be honest with you. Haven't watched Tua. I like Tua, but I just don't know if Tua is going to be, like, is he going to be a tier 3 guy, a tier 4 guy, or is he going to be a top tier guy? I just don't think he's going to be a top tier quarterback. Miami made a mistake. They should have listened to me and picked Justin Herbert, but just saying. Now every Miami fan's going to hate me, but I'm just telling you how it is. Yeah. Sadly, I'm a Lions fan, but do you think Jamar Chase will be there at 7? D-Town, it's okay that you're a Lions fan. If you missed on Wednesday, Steffi and I discussed why the Lions are better than people think. They're not tanking. I feel good about them overall. And I will say this, they need another receiver. So will Jamar Chase be there at 7? I do think Jamar Chase will be there at 7. I do. But we'll see. I think he will, but, stranger things have happened. I think either way, the Lions are getting a really, really good player, and I'm curious to know if they end up going out and they draft Pitts. All right, so with the NFL and what's going on, we touched on 49ers. We touched on the Dolphins. So who are the Eagles picking now that they've traded down? At 12. I mean, I don't really know what the Eagles are doing. That's a lot of, the trade out of 6 was a little odd. But, I think they could end up with a tackle maybe. I don't know. I was really confused by that. I don't know what they were doing. I don't know what they were thinking. But they did it. Eagles traded out. I think this is a draft. Personally, I wouldn't have traded out of the top 5, but that's just me. Who do you think? What do you think about the ESPN McVay Goff article? It's real. I've said it on the stream. A lot of the things that was mentioned there, I've said on the stream before. So it is real. It is something that was happening. And yeah, very confused what the Eagles did. I don't know how Roseman's still there, to be honest with you. My brother is a Giants fan. He wants them to target another receiver and edge rusher. Man, the Giants, they go out, they get Kenny Golladay. They don't need another receiver, by the way. They're good there. They go out and get Kenny Golladay, Kyle Rudolph. They bring back Leonard Williams. And they get Adoree Jackson. I like the way the Giants are looking. I'm not saying the Giants will win the NFC East guaranteed, but I think that they're players. I think they have a shot. So, I don't know why. I'm not tired, so I don't know why I'm yawning. Your brother should feel good about the Giants moving forward. I think Miami draft Kyle Pitts. That'd be something. Running quarterbacks make 3rd and 4 or 8 so much easy to pick up in a 3 wide receiver set. Definitely agree with you there, Coach. Totally agree. All right, guys. Why don't we do something different? Let me see here. Let's see how let's see if we can do this, all right? We're going to try draft. Okay. NFC East is wide open except for the Eagles. They're a joke. I've never liked Tua. I'm not into left-handed quarterbacks. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to bear with me one sec. Let's see here. I don't hate Tua. I'm just not sold on Tua. That's where I am at right now. Don't hate him, just not sold on him. Trying to get this thing to work. You guys will see what I'm doing in just a sec. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Jake, you should do a live first round mock draft on stream. That's definitely not what I'm doing right now. Okay. All right. One second. All right, folks. We got PFN's mock draft simulator. I was feeling the vibe. Feel like this is probably where we should go. So, let's actually move this. Can we move this? Let's see if we can move this. Now, I'm not going to do any trades or anything like that because I don't want to get this thing crazy. Okay. Of course you called it. Of course you called it. I figured somebody would. All right. So we got Trevor Lawrence going #1 overall to Jacksonville. Now, we're not going to talk about what I would do, but Trevor Lawrence to Jacksonville nonetheless. Okay. All right. #2, the Jets. What do you guys think? What are the Jets going to be doing, huh? Are they going to go with a quarterback? Are they going to stick with theirs, stick by theirs, build up theirs? What do you see them doing? Because I see everyone's saying Wilson, okay? I kind of have a feeling that's not going to be Wilson. I kind of have a feeling they're going to stick with their guy. They didn't trade down because they love a certain prospect. And the prospect is Penei Sewell from Oregon, the top offensive tackle prospect. That's where I would go if I'm the Jets. We'll see if they go there. That's kind of where I think that they're going to go. Okay. And hopefully you guys can see that. I don't know how well that's coming in, but all right. So, yeah, they got Becton and they got Sewell. Now you literally don't have any issues at tackle. So now we have the 49ers here. I'm going to say Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trey Lance. Where do they go here? I think they go Justin Fields here. I could Trey Lance. I'm going to go with Justin Fields. And then Atlanta at 4. I'm going to go, let's see here. I'm going to go with Trey Lance. And then the Bengals at 5, they're going to take, well, they could take a bunch of players here, to be honest with you. So, let's see. Where do the Bengals go here? Where do you guys think the Bengals go here? I think Darisaw is a little too early. Probably trade down, right? But let's look at what they need. You have the Bengals here, OT, wide receiver, guard, tight end, defensive tackle. You guys think Slater? I have Darisaw higher, but you guys really like Slater, apparently. Okay. Interesting. All right, well, we'll go with Slater then. We'll stick. We'll do what the. Let's see here. Okay, so we got him, Slater. Now here, I think the Dolphins personally will go with Devontae Smith. I would choose Jalen Waddle, but I think they'll go with Devontae Smith. Now, the Lions here, they're going to get either Jamar Chase or Jalen Waddle here. And I kind of see them picking Chase, although I would prefer Waddle. I think they're sticking with Jared Goff, so I don't think they draft Zach Wilson. So we'll have them taking Chase. And then Zach Wilson goes to the Panthers at 8. Because, well, I think with no trades, this is how it would work out if Zach Wilson didn't go at 2. Now, Denver, what does Denver need? We'll look at Denver. Denver needs a linebacker, an edge, a quarterback, a running back, and safety. I disagree on the quarterback. So linebacker and edge. I also think corner could be an option, although they upgraded that. So I'm going to give a Micah Parsons here. Gregory Rousseau is rated higher than him, but I'm going to give Micah Parsons, can be an edge, can be. And then Dallas at 10. Dallas just picked up Damontae Kazee, and they also picked up Keanu Neal, who were both in Atlanta. So, I mean, Dallas could go multiple different directions here. I don't see them picking a wide receiver. They already have so many. I could see them going corner. Where do you guys see Dallas going? Cornerback, safety, defensive tackle, OT. Could also see Darisaw. I'm going to give him Patrick Surtain. Now, the Giants, I like the receivers, to be honest with you. So I have them taking Kyle Pitts here. I think Pitts comes in. You trade away Evan Ingram, and you have Pitts and you have Rudolph. Moving on, the Eagles here, they have all sorts of needs. Look at Philly. Quarterback, they're not taking a quarterback. Wide receiver, cornerback, linebacker, tight end. Philly ends up with Jalen Waddle. Then the Chargers here at 13. You look, they need a tackle, cornerback, guard, tight end, wide receiver. Now, I don't necessarily think there's a wide receiver here that I would take. Obviously, you don't see him on the big board here, but next in line on my board would be Rashad Bateman. I have him more as a mid first, or not mid, but like a back end of the first round. So I think he's a little bit too early here. So I'm going to have them taking Darisaw here to get them a tackle that they need. Minnesota is now up. And the Vikings, they could use some edge presence for sure. Guard, safety, and a tackle. They did lose Anthony Harris because they didn't bring him back on the tag, so he's gone. So I could see them going to replace Anthony Harris, but there's really not a safety that I'd take this early. So I'm looking here, going back, the Vikings, edge, guard, safety, tackle. And so I'm thinking he's not as high on this board, but on my personal one, we're going to go with Jalen Phillips here out of Miami. Yeah. I'd like to see the Giants get him for sure. I think he'd be great on the Giants, Kyle Pitts, but that's just me. Okay. Now we have New England Patriots, and they've done a nice job filling out their roster. They have guys coming back from COVID because they opted out. They signed a bunch of guys. So what are we left with? A running back need, a cornerback, a wide receiver, quarterback, linebacker. Wide receiver seems relatively loaded for how much they're spending on wide receiver. So I don't know if they go that route. So I'm thinking, you look at the best available here, and, the Patriots, cornerback, linebacker. I'm going to give him Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I think he's the best linebacker in this draft, and so that's who I have them going with here. Arizona has some needs. They seem to feel like they're, NFL, they're ready for a Super Bowl run. I don't know if they truly are, but, we'll see. Not sure wide receivers even close to a need, but it's there for some reason. So I'm going to go with a cornerback here. We're going to give him J.C. Horn from South Carolina. And then we had the Raiders here at 17 overall, and they're going to have, they're going to need to fill a few holes, but they're definitely going to want to go out and, get a corner. Now, Caleb Farley might fall out of the first, but I find it really hard to believe that he would completely fall out of the first. I think it's possible, but he's really good talent. So I do think this is the type of guy the Raiders would go after, and they're taking Caleb Farley here at 17. Now back with the Dolphins here, they did a nice job. They picked up, a wide receiver, Devontae Smith, early on to go back and reunite with Tua. They have another pick here, and we're going to look at, you look at the wide receivers already taken care of. Now it's offensive tackle, running back, center. and cornerback. And so with that, I think that there's an offensive tackle here that's worth taking, and that is Samuel Cosme out of Texas. So they're going to go with Samuel Cosme here out of Texas. I think that'll shore up the offensive line. Washington, they have done a really nice job. They added, first off, they go out, they get William Jackson the third, a guy that's going to become a household name, this upcoming season, I think. And then they, of course, added Curtis Samuel. I love the pickup there. They also got Ryan Fitzpatrick, so they have a new quarterback in charge. I don't think they draft a quarterback here. I know some people would say, well, you have Mac Jones available. Mac Jones is 6th on my board as far as quarterbacks, so I wouldn't pick him here. Then you have a linebacker, safety, offense tackle, wide receiver. Now, I look at the linebackers here, and I think, Zaven Collins would be a nice addition. Very talented linebacker. He's a monster, to be honest with you. Then you look at tackle, and I could see Leatherwood or, Dylan Ray-Dunes. But aside from that, I'm not seeing anybody I truly like for Washington. They just added Humphreys. I wouldn't mind them going with another wide receiver. Wouldn't mind them going with a safety if there was one to take. So linebacker, I'm going to give him Zaven Collins and continue to build that just ferocious defense. So Zaven Collins to Washington here. I have heard nothing about Nickel Roby-Coleman going back to the Rams, Robert. So Zaven Collins in Washington. We have Chicago, which I don't even know what Chicago's plan is. I don't know what they're trying to do, to be honest with you. Chicago quarterback, cornerback, offensive tackle, wide receiver, defensive tackle. They seem to be sold on Andy Dalton for God knows why. So it's cornerback, offensive tackle, wide receiver, defensive tackle. I think it's time to move on from Anthony Miller. If you're sold on Andy Dalton, the best thing to do is hide how bad he is by getting him a ton of weapons. So I'm going to give them Rashad Bateman here. The future with Allen Robinson, I'm not buying into. I don't know 100% what's going on there. I don't think it's guaranteed. And so for that reason, I like the idea of going out, getting Rashad Bateman. You have Bateman, you have Robinson, and you have Mooney. They can move on from Anthony Miller entirely, or they can just keep Anthony Miller and trade Robinson if that doesn't work out. If he doesn't want to play there, you get Bateman here at 20. Moving on to pick 21, we have the Indianapolis Colts at 21. You have your need at edge, offensive tackle, wide receiver, tight end, corner. Keep in mind, Indy, they drafted quite a few guys that they're waiting to develop. Tyquan Lewis, Ben Benogu, all sorts of guys that they've drafted, Kamoko Toure. So they're waiting for these guys to develop. I don't necessarily think they're going to go out and right off the bat, try and, replace these guys, because I do think that the Colts, they really want to build through the draft and they want to give these guys an opportunity to develop. So looking at this, Chris Ballard can go in many different directions. Wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, if he trades down here. When you look at this, this depth chart, first and foremost, the left tackle position has not been addressed, okay? So that's a concern of mine. So right off the cuff, I'm thinking Leatherwood makes a lot of sense here, or Ray-Dunes. I'm going to go with the North Dakota State, Dylan Ray-Dunes, to pair with North Dakota State, former quarterback from North Dakota State, Carson Wentz. I think Ray-Dunes' grade here was a little too low. I think he's a first-round talent. And I think that, with the Colts getting Ray-Dunes, you shore up an offensive line. Now you have Dylan Ray-Dunes, Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, Mark Lewinsky, and Braden Smith. And that's one of the better offensive lines in football. So not bad to replace Costanzo with a talented rookie in Dylan Ray-Dunes. Moving on, the Titans here. Now we got Tennessee, cornerback, tight end, safety, offensive tackle. Now, they need a cornerback because they seemingly just let go of everyone. So I think Greg Newsome makes a lot of sense here from Northwestern. Big fan of his game, and that's where I'm going to have them go. Newsome's physical. He's a ball hawk, and I definitely think that makes a lot of sense. No, Robert, what I was saying is that I haven't heard anything on Nickel Roby-Coleman going back to the Rams. I don't imagine that's happening. If you know more, let me know, but I haven't heard anything. Now the Jets, we gave them Penei Sewell earlier. And you look at the Jets, and, quite honestly, I like what they did. They go out and they get Carl Lawson. They go out and get Corey Davis in free agency. So I'm liking so far what the Jets are doing with Robert Saleh. You stick by Sam Darnold in this scenario. We'll see if they actually do. So what does that leave you with? Well, it does leave you with the fact, you add Jared Davis. You have Blake Cashman at linebacker with Harvey Langley. I don't necessarily think they go linebacker. You look at the corners, they could probably go corner. They're going to lose Brian Poole in all likelihood, and they're going to lose Bradley McDougald. So you probably get another defensive back here. Now, you look, and there's not really a ton that I would go in the first round. And by a ton, I don't know if I'd go with any of these guys in the first round. Maybe Asante Samuel, Trayvon Moehring. That might be a little too late for him. Or a little too early, excuse me. So I'm looking, and I'm just not really seeing anything I like. And then, of course, tight end, it's like, I'm not going to pick another, no tight end should really go in the first round except for this guy right here, Kyle Pitts. So that's kind of where I'm at right here. The Jets are tough. They're not an easy pick. You go out, you get a tackle. So I think we're going to go interior here. We're going to go with offensive guard, and we're going to give him Elijah Vera-Tucker out of USC. Shore up that offensive line for Sam Darnold. So you get him Mekhi Becton. You get him Penei Sewell. You have, George Fant as a backup tackle. You have Chuma Edoga, a third-round pick from 2019 out of USC. Cameron Clark, fourth-round pick in 2020. And then you go with Elijah Vera-Tucker. And there you go. What's up, Jake? How we doing? So we have that. Now the Steelers here. This is not the best case scenario for the Steelers. But what I will say is that there are still some really talented players. There's, Kwity Paye is still there. Somebody that, a lot of guys are high on. I'm not super high on, but, the fact that he's still there, he's a presence. Ojulari is a really good pass rusher. Rosu. Then you have Najee Harris. So I know a lot of Steelers fans might say, yeah, for sure, like the Steelers should go after a running back. But you have to realize, folks, the Steelers need more than a running back. The Steelers need to build up that offensive line. They lost a lot of guys to either free agency or retirement, and they're going to have to replace them. So right now, they need a center. They need a tackle. They need two tackles. They need a center, and their guards are taken care of. So what I'm thinking here, no-brainer pick, is Alex Leatherwood. You get your tackle there. You're good at left tackle. You need another tackle. You get one later on. But Alex Leatherwood here is a really good pick. This is where I'm going for the Steelers. Start to build out that offense. Defense is still going to be really good. I know they lost some pieces, but they're still going to be a really good defense. So that's what I'm focusing on here for the Steelers. Moving on to the Jags. Your needs, obviously, quarterback is taken care of. Now you have Trevor Lawrence, safety, tight end, running back, defensive tackle. So I'm looking at this here, and I'm thinking, well, I wouldn't go running back because I do like James Robinson, and I'm not a fan of just being, picky and going after, a first-round running back when I have one that played very well, albeit last year. So I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, well, they added Marvin Jones, and they have a pretty good, three-man front there with their, wide receivers. But after that, then you look at the defense. Defense could use some help, mainly in the interior. They brought in Jihad Ward and Tyson Alu, but I think they could use another guy. They also brought in Malcolm Brown. I'm looking at linebacker, not super, excited for that. And then safety, I think safety is where they go. Rayshawn Jenkins is going to be a good pickup, but I think they definitely could go in the back end. So I'm going to give them Trayvon Moehring because I think their pickup of Rudy Ford is simply more so a special teams move. I don't necessarily think he's going to be their third safety. So we'll give him Trayvon Moehring there. And then the Browns here, they've really carved out a nice roster. Going out and getting John Johnson here and Troy Hill, Cleveland has a chance to be very good next season. Now, you look, I think they could use a receiver. They added Peoples-Jones and Rashad Higgins, and I'm saying they could use. They don't need a receiver, but they could use one. Odell, Jarvis, have your offensive line of Jedrick Wills, Batonio, Treader, Wyatt Teller, and Jack Conklin, which is one of the absolute best offensive lines in all of football. Tight end, you have Austin Hooper, you have David Njoku, then you have Harrison Bryant, a fourth rounder from last year. Baker Mayfield, they're pretty settled on. Their running backs are Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Can't hate that. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I'm looking here. You get John Johnson. You add Troy Hill as the nickel. You have Greedy Williams. You have Denzel Ward. Do you go and get up another corner? No. Do you get another safety? I think Delpit and Johnson are pretty good there. Anthony Walker they added. And they have Sion Taki as well as Jacob Phillips and Elijah Lee, Mac Wilson, a fifth-round pick in 2019, Malcolm Smith, who they did bring back. So, you look at that. They add Takaris McKinley, Andrew Billings, Sheldon Richardson, and Myles Garrett. So what I'm thinking is they might need one more pass rusher. So right here, and this is terrifying, the Browns on paper look like one of the absolute best teams in all of football after they add Azeez Ojulari. Going out and you're getting a very, very fast and quick pass rusher. So you're bolstering that Browns defense that's already so good on paper. So the Browns they're going to be a team to watch out for years to come. Moving on, we had the Ravens here, edge, wide receiver, offensive tackle, and safety, where we're looking there. Now, the Ravens are a team that I really expected to be a lot better last year. And they kind of took a step back, and some would say maybe because Lamar Jackson also took a step back. It hurt the team, the injury to Mark Andrews, the injury to Nick Boyle. Now, they just went out and added Sammy Watkins to their wide receiver core. And as much as I think that could help, I do think they need to potentially look at adding a different type of receiver, maybe in the second round. But for now, I don't really like the centers here on this team. And I do think that, going out and getting Kevin Zeitler was smart. They still have Orlando Brown. They haven't traded him yet, but I think they probably will. So they don't really have, Tyree Phillips is a third rounder from 2020, so I think they'll probably stick with him. You look at the running backs, they're fine there. The defense, they're a little bit old in the in the trenches here, so I could see them going with a defensive lineman. They brought back Tyus Bowser. They have Malik Harrison, Patrick Queen from last year, Pernell McPhee they brought back. The back end of the secondary, do you upgrade safety? I think they would, except there's not really a safety there to go ahead and do that. So I'm thinking here, you go for Christian Barmore, and there you go. The Ravens add another interior threat. They get more. They get youth, and they get, obviously, I think he's a better player than Derek Wolfe and Brandon Williams. Mainly Derek Wolfe. So I think this is a big up for the Ravens going out and getting Barmore. This is we're gonna go. I think we'll do two. Let's do day one and day two, if anyone's up for that. I'll do a day one and day two mock. So now we have the Saints here, pick number 28. And the Saints have some needs because they had to, really cut their losses on a lot of these guys due to the fact that they were really ahead. They were really, over the salary cap. I mean, they were $100 million over at one point. So you look at the receivers, Michael Thomas, Traquan Smith. I do think that they could use a receiver. Their quarterback is Jameis Winston. And then you look at the offensive line, and the offensive line is really good. Tight end, they have Troutman, and then they just signed Nick Vannett to a 3-year deal. So I look at, their defensive line, and they let some guys go, and they did just lose Trey Hendrickson. So this is a team that could utilize getting another pass rusher, although they do have Marcus Davenport. It's tough to really garner what to do with the Saints until Marshawn Lattimore got a felony. That made it pretty obvious for me. So, is there a guy that I would take at corner right now? No. So, I'm not going to reach on a corner for the Saints. But the Saints are 100% going to have to draft a corner because the Marshawn Lattimore felony is something to worry about. I think they're just going to go probably with Kwity Paye or Kwity Paye and or Gregory Rousseau. We're going to go with Kwity Paye here. Versatile pass rusher. And then the Packers, what have they really done this offseason? They came close to getting the Super Bowl, but I don't feel like they're getting better. I feel like they, arguably got a little worse by losing Jamal Williams. They didn't lose a ton, but, I'm not really a huge fan of what they've done. I think, you can make an argument for them to go out and get a linebacker, a defensive lineman, a corner, although they brought back Kevin King for some reason. So there's some areas that they could go to. They could get a weapon for Rodgers. Who knows if they'll actually do that. But I'm going to say that they do. And I'm going to say they go with Kadarius Toney here, who's going to change the game for them, getting them a versatile nightmare, kind of a chess piece there in the offense for the Packers, helping out Aaron Rodgers. I like Kadarius Toney here. Moving on to the Buffalo Bills. Bills are looking pretty good. They brought back a lot of guys. You go back and you're able to retain Matt Milano, pretty big deal. They got Mario Addison back on a more of a cheaper deal, more team friendly deal. So you look and there's not really a ton needed in the secondary. They also brought back Levi Wallace. So the offense, they get Mitch Morse, they have Cody Ford, they have Darrell Williams, John Feliciano's brought back, and Deion Dawkins. They have Cole Beasley, Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis as well. So there's not a ton here that they need. So I'm going to say this right now, and this might piss off somebody, but I don't think they need a ton. So we're going to go best available here. Now, what did the team needs say for the Bills? Edge, cornerback, defense tackle, tight end, safety. All right. Well, I'm not really keen on saying that they 100% need an edge, but the best available happens to be Gregory Rousseau. So we're going to give him Gregory Rousseau. So, and that would be probably the best available on my board too. Now the Chiefs here, I think they definitely have a chance to take a step back this season. I'm not the biggest fan. I felt like they didn't get better. They just basically went to the Super Bowl, won it, and then tried to go back and win it with a very... So I do think that's a problem. They still haven't re-signed Austin Reeder. They added Kyle Long. Mike Remmers is not going to cut it. They do have Prince Tega Winogo, but he is also very inexperienced. They have Nick Allegretti. They added Joe Thuney, Martinez Rankin. So this is a team 100% that needs to draft an offensive line. And I'm looking right now and thinking, Liam Eichenberg, Tevin Jenkins, Jalen Mayfield, all make a lot of sense here. So I'm going to give him Jalen Mayfield at 31. And then 32 here, we had Tampa Bay. And, what can you say about Tampa Bay? They kept their entire 22 starters together. I think they're the first team in NFL history to do that. So they keep them together. The starters are together. And you look, and they don't really have holes. They haven't brought Antonio Brown back. We'll see if they do that. They probably can. They don't really have holes. So I'm looking at, potentially, the nickel spot with Ross Cockrell. They also have, Sean Murphy-Bunting. They have Jamel Dean. They have Carlton Davis. So you could argue Sean Murphy-Bunting could just, be that guy. So, here, what are the team needs for the Bucs? They have running back, defensive tackle, edge, cornerback, and guard. So, defensive tackle, because they're older, you could go with defensive tackle. So I'm just going to give him defensive tackle here. Levi Onwuzurike. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's going to go to Tampa Bay. And then Here at 33, Jacksonville, we gave him, who did we give him? We gave him Trayvon Moring, and we gave him Trevor Lawrence. So Jacksonville here at pick 33. Again, no trades. That's why, this is happening the way it's happening. The Jaguars here, quarterback, safety, tight end, running back, defensive tackle. We gave him a safety and a quarterback, tight end, running back. I don't think they need a running back. Tight end, though, we'll give him Pat Freiermuth from Penn State. And then the Jets here, we've given the Jets a guard and a tackle. And now with the Jets, we can go and we can get them a corner, a linebacker, or you can get them a running back. And I think the Jets here are going to take Najee Harris, who does fall into the second round based on the way this is going. And I do think that's possible, especially, hear me out, guys, when you say there's no way Najee Harris is going to fall out of the first round. The reason I say this is possible is because look at Todd Gurley, Le'Veon Bell, Zeke Elliott. All of them were on top of the game, and they all fell off. And all of those, well, not Le'Veon Bell, but Todd Gurley and Zeke Elliott were first-round picks. Melvin Gordon. So I just don't think that it's 100% guaranteed that any running backs go in the first round this year. But we'll see. I don't know. Najee Harris is a little older, so maybe you would want that fifth-year option. Who knows? But I wouldn't be surprised if he falls out. There's a lot of needs here for these teams. So moving on, we have the Falcons here. And the Falcons, we gave them Trey Lance earlier. The Falcons have a need for safety, running back, cornerback, and guard. So running back, Travis Etienne would be the best available on this board. He would not be the best available on my board. That would be Javonte Williams. And then we have, let's see here, safety, cornerback, guard. So then, Wyatt Davis, I don't know if I'd go that way. Richie Grant, Javon Holland, Funga, Nasruddin, and then we have corner. I think corner's realistic here. Melifonwu, we're going to go with at pick 35. 36. We got Cosme and we have Devontae Smith heading over to Miami. I think Miami's building a nice little roster there. Now, Tua Tagovailoa needs to obviously contribute, and he has to live up to the draft hype. But regardless, they do have a good roster. So what could they do here? They added Malcolm Brown. They didn't get, everyone thought they were going to get Aaron Jones. They did not. So, alas, they go out, they get their guy, Javonte Williams. So now the Eagles, they could go a myriad of directions because I just don't really like their roster, to be honest with you. Quarterback, wide receiver, corner, linebacker, tight end. We had them going, let's see, at pick 12, they went with Jalen Waddle, gave him a wide receiver. So now it's wide receiver, cornerback, linebacker, tight end. So linebacker here, we're going to give them Baron Browning. Bengals here, we're going to give them a tackle. Here, they have tackle, wide receiver, guard, tight end, defense tackle. We gave them Rashawn Slater because that's what you guys thought that we should do. And now we're going to look here. Wide receiver, tight end, defensive tackle. There's not a tight end that I would pick here. So wide receiver is going to be, well, there's a top. This is not easy. There's Nico Collins. There's, Rondale Moore, Elijah Moore. I think Rondale Moore is a guy that could be the one that they go after. So I'll give him Rondale Moore here. Carolina, if you guys missed it earlier, they ended up with Zach Wilson at 8. Carolina, quarterback, corner, offensive tackle, safety, linebacker. So I could see them going and getting a tackle for him. But the weird thing is there's no wide receiver on here. And I do think that wide receiver, it maybe not a total need, but when you lose, keep in mind they lost in this scenario, they weren't able to get Curtis Samuel. They weren't able to bring him back. So he's with Washington, and now you had David Moore, sure, but it's DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, David Moore. I think with these wide receivers, the way it's landed, you could definitely make the argument for the Panthers to draft somebody. You could also make the argument for the Panthers to draft a corner because they're not all that great aside from Dante Jackson and Troy Pride. So right here, I'm going to choose between a corner and a wide receiver, and I'm going to give him Elijah Moore. So we have 3 Moores on the roster. That's not intended. It's just Elijah Moore's a very good football player, and he fits that team pretty well. Okay, so the Broncos, they got Micah Parsons, an edge defender / linebacker. I have him as an edge. Some people have him as many people have him as linebacker. He'll fit that role either way. So I don't think they need a quarterback. A running back, however, could help, and a safety could help. So I'm going to give them a safety in the back end to help them out with Richie Grant, and he's going to go well in Vic Fangio's defense. Okay, Lions fans, if you guys are here, we give him Jamar Chase at 7, and now at 41, Jared Goff has his weapon, linebacker, cornerback, and safety. Where do they go here? They go out and they get Nick Bolton, a guy that has a ton of quickness, a ton of athleticism for the linebacker position. He's going to help out that defense. Giants here at pick 42. Last time we saw them, they picked Kyle. And here the Giants, what do they need? Well, they don't need a receiver, in my opinion. They could use an edge. They could use a center. They could use a guard. So where do we have the Giants going? I think the Giants can fix... I already think the Giants are doing a nice job and they're moving in the right direction. So I look at it. Nick Gates is their center right now. Jonathan and Spencer Pulley are there on that roster. Zach Fulton was signed. I don't think either of those guys are difference makers. So I'm going to look here at what the Giants can do. And right off the cuff, we're going to see Creed Humphrey here. This is a no-brainer to me. Creed Humphrey goes to the Giants, helping out. Just that should be the name of the game. If you're going to stick by Daniel Jones, then you need to help out Daniel Jones, and that's how you do it, by drafting a center and getting him Kyle Pitts as a weapon. 49ers were able to keep their second-round pick in that trade to move up to 3. Very impressive there. Niners added Justin Fields in this draft. They have a cornerback need, big time, and I don't really think they have really any other need on the level of corner. I know there's people that will say, well, they could use an edge defender. Sure. Not saying they shouldn't, but with corner, as needy as it is, you look, and to me, they could go a defensive line, but the cornerback position, it's Jason Verrett, Dante Johnson, Breanne Body Calhoun, Emmanuel Mosley. So, they could go ahead and get another guy. And I think they might do that. And they also could go linebacker here. They could go a few ways. So we'll give them help. We'll give them help on the defense here. And we're going to give them the cornerback from Georgia, Eric Stokes. Very fast. He's going to be able to catch up with Deshaun Jackson when they play the Rams. He's going to be able to catch up with, all sorts of guys, DK Metcalf, what have you. And his stock has really risen, over that. So now we move on here. Dallas Cowboys, pick 44. We gave Dallas earlier Patrick Surtain Jr. Really like that pick there. Patrick Surtain the second, sorry. Really like that pick there for Dallas, not going to lie. So we give them a corner. That helps out. Jordan Lewis, Surtain, CJ Goodwin, Rashard Robinson. You have Anthony Brown. So, they could arguably go for another corner. Well, they also have Trayvon Diggs, so I think they're good there now. At safety, Keanu Neal is actually going to play linebacker. So safety, they could use another safety. So I like, in that realm, Hamza Nasruddin. I think he would be a really nice addition for them. Big corner, big safety, 6'3" to be exact. So we'll move him to Dallas Dallas bolsters their secondary, and it's, rightfully so. So the Jaguars, we've seen them quite a bit in this. We gave him Pat Fryermuth for Trevor Lawrence to throw to. We gave him Trayvon Mulring. We gave him Trevor Lawrence. So safety, tight end, quarterback. What else does Jacksonville need here? We're going to look here, and we're going to see running back. I tend to disagree. I do think they could go with a defensive tackle, even though they've added quite a bit, via free agency. They had a lot of money to do so. So we're going to go, and we're going to give them a best available type of player, and that is going to be edge defender Jason Owe from Penn State. He ran an incredible 40 time at the pro day. So, I won't be shocked if he goes in the first, to be honest, because of that. But Jason Owe to the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Patriots earlier, they were able to add Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who is the best linebacker, in my opinion, in this draft. Helps them. This defense continues to get better. The offense improved. So what can they do here? They're going to go ahead and they're going to add Travis Etienne here. He falls into their lap. I think it's a good fit for him because he doesn't have to be the main guy. I think he could really thrive, sharing time with Damian Harris. Now, Damian Harris fantasy owners, and me included, aren't going to be very happy, but I like the fit. Travis Etienne to the Patriots at 46. Now, Chargers here, 47. And we're looking here, and the Chargers are really putting together a nice looking roster. So there's not a ton to add, especially after we gave the Chargers Christian Darrisaw. So they already have a big time tackle. So you have Darrisaw, you have Bulaga, you have Matt Filer, you have Corey Linsley, Ode Abushi, and Trey Pipkins, excuse me. So they could go wide receiver here. And let's see. Oh, breaking news. If you're a Steelers fan, Tyson Alu has agreed to terms originally with the Jaguars. He's going to re-sign with the Steelers. So that's pretty cool if you're a Steelers fan. If you're a Jaguars fan, you probably didn't like hearing that. So maybe we should have gotten him a defensive tackle. Oh, well. Anyway, Chargers. I'm looking at their defense, and I'm thinking, their defensive line could use maybe something there. But all in all, this really looks like a well-rounded roster. I like a lot of what I'm seeing. So, what do we do with the Chargers? Tackles taken care of. I like their offensive line. Maybe get a little bit younger. I don't know. Honestly, I think they're pretty good at that point. So then I look at wide receivers that can really help them. And, you look at a guy like Dwayne Eskridge here. Maybe it's a little early. Nico Collins. And then I look at somebody like Terrace Marshall, who is probably going to go pretty high. All in all, though, I really like the fit of Amon-Ra St. Brown with the Chargers. He goes back to California, and I like the fit there. USC Trojan going to the LA Chargers. So we have the Raiders here. The Raiders, as we touched on, they go out and they were able to grab Caleb Farley, somebody that fell because of the medical. Now the Raiders have another pick here. The Raiders are going to likely look at safety. So here, is there any safety worth taking? Javon Holland, I would believe, is a safety worth taking. Might be a little too early here in the second, though. So, you look again, you look corner. They already got Farley, tackle. They're going to have to fix the offensive line for sure. So I'm going to have them going with Tevin Jenkins here at pick 48. Arizona, we've already seen basically Arizona with J.C. Horn in the secondary to help them out. But now Arizona has other needs, and one that includes running back. Now, they don't need to go out and get a die-hard, true bell cow, but they are going to need to help out their man from Fordham, and I think as good as he can be, I don't necessarily see him as a 1. I know there's some people that do think that Chase Edmonds is a 1, but I think they need another guy. Do they go with that other guy here? I don't know, but I will say that I know they added Brian Winters, but I don't love him as a guard, to be honest with you. I don't love him as a starting guard. So, I mean, I might also look at that. You lose Devondre Campbell, you lose Corey Peters, Isaiah Irving, Charles Washington, Drake Kirkpatrick. They could go a few ways. I do think they could consider getting another linebacker here. And that's kind of where I'm leaning, even though that's not on there. So, inside linebacker, we're going to give him Jabril Cox out of LSU. Very athletic very athletic linebacker that honestly plays sometimes like a cornerback. Very agile. Kind of reminds me of Deion Jones, so that's a really nice replacement for the Cardinals. But then moving on here, the Dolphins, they have wide receiver need that we've already filled with Devontae Smith. They added Samuel Cosme to help shore up the tackle spot. They added Javonte Williams to get himself a legit number one running back. So now you look at center, and look, they can give Landon Dickerson a reuniting with Tua Tagovailoa, but I have some serious concerns with his not with his athleticism, but with his injury history. He's missed 2 seasons due to a torn ACL and 2 seasons due to an ankle. I don't know necessarily if he's the right move to make, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's the one that they do make. So, with that being said, I do think that he is the move that they will make. I would go with Josh Myers if I was going center. I also like Josh Myers longer, but Landon Dickerson, that seems like a good fit for him, and he reunites with Tua. Now, Washington here, quarterback, linebacker, safety, tackle, wide receiver. So early on, we had Washington. They went out and got Zaven Collins to bolster that really impressive defense. Okay. Now, they're not done, though, because they have another pick here where they have a chance to really get a true impact player, which is scary because Washington already looks really good. Now, I know what a lot of people are thinking, and I might be thinking the same thing. Ryan Fitzpatrick is there. Now, he might be the starter this year, but he can't be the starter forever. You look at the corners. You have Kendall Fuller. You have Jimmy Moreland, a 7th rounder they've gotten extreme value from the 2019 draft. They added William Jackson III. Okay? They could add another corner, but they did just sign Danny Johnson back. They do have Greg Stroman. Don't know if they necessarily have to add another corner. Not here. And I don't know if there's anybody worth taking except maybe Asante Samuel Jr. So where do they go here? I'm going to actually say that they go and they take Mac Jones. Washington gets Mac Jones to sit behind Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I think that works out well for them. They have Fitzpatrick for a year, can go to Mac Jones at some point during the year if Fitzpatrick takes a nosedive, or, next year he takes over entirely. I like that fit. Mac Jones to Washington has a ton of weapons moving forward in his career. Moving on to the Bears. Again, Bears earlier, if you missed it, they went with Rashad Bateman. Felt like Bateman was the right pick there. Just uncertainty at the wide receiver position with Allen Robinson. I still don't know if he's going to play this season with the Bears. I don't think he's happy about Andy Dalton, and I wouldn't be either. So, I could see the Bears going out and really doing anything. Nothing would shock me with them. They're a very confusing team. Don't know what their direction is. But they did let go of Massey. And I think that they could go tackle here. If they do, I think it'll be Liam Eichenberg. And I think that's what I'm going to give them. I think it makes sense. So we'll give them a tackle there. Titans here at 53. Earlier, they ended up taking a cornerback, Greg Newsome. That is a huge help to their secondary. Now, keep in mind, they did add Christian Fulton last season. So they moved on from Adoree Jackson and Malcolm Butler, but they still have Christian Fulton. They still have, now they add Greg Newsome. They added Kevin Johnson. They might be good at corner at least in their mind, with, Crookshank and Kevin Byard also at safety. They added Bud Dupree. They brought back Jayon Brown on a better contract. Rashawn Evans, Harold Landry, Jeffrey Simmons. They added Denico Autry. They could use could use a nose tackle here, maybe a nickel. But aside from that, the Titans don't look too bad. They added Kendall Lamb at right tackle. I think they could definitely use an upgrade there. They have A.J. Brown and Josh Reynolds. I also think that they could use an upgrade there. So I'm going to give them a wide receiver here. And the wide receiver I'm going to give them is going to be Dwayne Eskridge. He's going to offer something they don't actively have right now. A.J. Brown's fast, but he's not a burner, okay? Josh Reynolds is decently fast, but he's also not a burner. So I'm going to give him Dwayne Eskridge. He's going to be able to stretch the field, give him all sorts of weapons there for Ryan Tannehill and be a total nightmare for opposing defenses. So now the Colts here at 54. The last time we saw them, they were on the clock. Chris Ballard went and took Dylan Ray-Dunes to be the left tackle of the future for the Indianapolis Colts. So what do they need now? We know they might want to develop their edge talent. They don't really like doing all of that, drafting and giving up on edge talent. They did just bring back T.Y. Hilton, but I do think that, it's hard because they paid him so much. And they go out and obviously they spend a 2020 second round pick on Pittman. And they, of course, spent a 2019 second round pick on Paris Campbell. So I don't really know where they could go with this because, they could go with a wide receiver and it would make sense because T.Y. Hilton's only on a 1-year deal, but T.Y. Hilton's getting paid a lot. And I just don't know 100% what's going to happen there. I like their offense. They could go tight end. We'll see. Their defense, I don't love their defense, but they have some good players there. I'm going to say this. They lost Anthony Walker. So I think there's a potential there to go out and get a guy to replace him. At safety, they have Kari Willis. They have Julian Blackmon. They might lose Malik Hooker. It sounds like they will. George Odom, who is a special teams ace, he wasn't very happy with his contract. I'm going to say safety here might be an option, but it depends on who's still available. And Javon Holland is still available here. I might go with him, but I'm also curious. Linebacker here. Might go with Jamin Davis. I like his overall versatility. At linebacker, I think he'd help them out. So I'm going to go with Jamin Davis here. Would be a nice fit for the Colts. Okay, moving on. Pittsburgh. So what did you do earlier? Well, you went out and you shored up the tackle position, at least in some way. You're going to have to draft another tackle. That's going to happen. So the Steelers went and they got Alex Leatherwood. But now this pick, I still think needs to be a tackle. I like Spencer Brown here. Maybe it's a little too early for him. But I'm going to say, they're probably going to have to do that at some point soon in the draft here. So I'm going to give them at 55. I'm going to give them Josh Myers here, who is available. Actually, I'm going to give him Quinn Miners. I think Miners has put himself in this conversation here. They met with him. He's really done a nice job throughout this process. They get their center of the future. They have Leatherwood. Now you probably draft another tackle. Then you could look at, maybe running back in the 4th round. But I wouldn't draft a running back too high. So I like this move for the Steelers. Moving on, we have Seattle. Now Seattle picks at 56. Offensive tackle, cornerback, defensive tackle, center, and wide receiver are their needs. At this point, you're going to have to get Russell Wilson in offensive line, right? So we're going to go out and we're going to go look and see what we can do to help out Russell Wilson, make sure he doesn't want to get traded from Seattle. I think he already wants to get traded from Seattle. But they added Gabe Jackson. They added Damian Lewis last year in the draft, had a really good year. They brought back Ethan Pochik. They have Brandon Shell and Dwayne Brown. The problem with this is that I don't know if any of these tackles are better than Brandon Shell. I don't think Brandon Shell's great, but I don't think he's terrible. I'd probably say Spencer Brown is an option here, but I would also probably gander at, maybe replacing the guy that you just lost. And that guy is Jerron Reed. They brought Kerry Hyder in. They Poona Ford they have Rasheem Green, they have LJ Collier, Jonathan Bullard, Darrell Taylor, a guy that they drafted in 2020, Jordan Brooks as well. KJ Wright's a free agent. They added Akello Witherspoon. They also need to make sure to try to bring back Quentin Dunbar. They did lose Shaq Griffin. I don't love Trey Flowers. I don't really love this secondary. Could definitely go out and get a corner. So I think it's between a corner and a defensive lineman. Who do you have at corner, though? Go out. You get Asante Samuel's kid, Asante Samuel Jr. There you go. Seattle gets another stud cornerback to take over for Shaq Griffin. Now the Rams are on the clock, and I know the majority of you are Rams fans on this channel because my origin story, if there was one, well, it comes from the Rams fandom. Starting Downtown Rams, majority of those Rams fans followed over to this channel. So the Rams here could go a few different ways. We look at their team needs per this site. We have linebackers number one. I tend to agree with that. Center is available. Edge, tackle, and cornerback. So I'm looking at this right now, and I'm thinking, edge, those are some options. I think Jordan Smith is somebody I want to target in the third round for the Rams. But I really tend to believe the linebacker position makes the most sense. Go out and get a guy that you just simply don't have on your defense right now, and you haven't had in a long time. This type of guy is just, it's hard to come by, and that is Dylan Moses. I don't believe the 80 grade. I think this is about where he'll go. Dylan Moses' athleticism just adds so much to a defense that was number one last year, and really number one last year, but only lost a few pieces. Go out and get Dylan Moses. It's a big-time pick for the Rams. They bolster that defense. I love it moving forward. Don't need a wide receiver. Dwayne Eskridge, by the way, I had going to 53 anyway, so I'm off that train. I really like him, but it doesn't make any sense now, considering the fact that they just added Deshaun Jackson. You don't want to step on a rookie's toes, especially Van Jefferson. So Dylan Moses to the Rams. Book it. Make it happen. I don't know if it's going to happen. Don't book it. But that's what I'd like to see happen. I love the fit. All right, Ravens time. So the Ravens, they have edge, wide receiver, tackle, and safety as needs here. We gave them Christian Barmore. So we're going to go out and we're going to give him an edge here. Joseph Asai. I think the fits there makes sense. He falls a little bit. He is a raw talent, but he's somebody, if you get him going, he has a chance to be a first-round level player. The Browns, it almost seems unfair at this point. They have such a good roster, and they continue to make picks. They added Azeez Ojulari earlier, and now they have an opportunity to add a linebacker, wide receiver, or defensive tackle. We're going to give them a wide receiver here, and we're going to give them a wide receiver by the name of Nico Collins, who this adds a tremendous amount of value to this offense because now Nico Collins is your go up and get it guy. You have two receivers in Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. who could also go up and get it, but they're not as big. Collins ran a 4.4 at 6'4". He is a great target for the Browns. The Ravens could have gone that way, and honestly, I was leaning towards that. But I really like this fit for the Browns. They might not do it, but and I really like Donovan Peoples-Jones. Don't get me wrong, but I really like Nico Collins, another Michigan guy that they could throw in there. And I'm not 100% convinced that Odell Beckham Jr. is going to end up playing for the Browns when it's all said and done. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's traded. And that's why I made that selection. Saints here, you got wide receiver, linebacker, cornerback, defensive tackle, and safety. We saw earlier they went with Kwity Paye, and now, right here, wide receiver is probably a need, I would say. We'll go with Terrace Marshall. Makes sense. Get a wide receiver. The Bills are back up. They took Gregory Rousseau, earlier in the first round, later in the first round, earlier in the draft. So they got that edge, corner, defense tackle, tight end, safety. I actually kind of like the idea of going out and getting Brevin Jordan, but I think it might be a little too early for that. So we're going to go here with corner, and we're going to give him Aaron Robinson, a guy that can really thrive in Sean McDermott's defense. Aaron Robinson there. Packers at 62. Last time we gave him Kadarius Toney, we gave him a weapon for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is very, very excited to have Kadarius Toney on that roster. Now we look here, and what did the Packers need? Well, offensive tackle, cornerback, linebacker, defensive tackle. We're going to stick with cornerback here, and we're going to give them Elijah Molden, going to help that back end of the secondary. I like that move. And then the Chiefs here, we gave him Jalen Mayfield. The Chiefs need help on the offense. It's that simple. So getting him a tackle made sense. And then, the Chiefs, all in all, I don't think they're a terrible team by any stretch, but they're going to have to fix their offensive line. So you go out, and with the uncertainty of Reeder, I don't know if he's 100% coming back. But hey, you know what? We'll say he is, because I'm going to say the Rams are bringing back Austin Blythe. So let's say Austin Reeder comes back. Either way, he's 30 years old. We're going to give him Josh Myers here, a guy that can play center, guard, but he can play that for 10 plus years. I think he's going to be a star, pick. I don't think he's going to be a superstar player, but I think this is a star pick here at the back of the end of the second round, a guy that will likely play for 10 years. I think he's going to be consistent. That's all you can ask for in an interior offensive lineman. So Josh Myers is the pick. And then Tampa Bay, it should be illegal for them to pick because they have literally no needs. It's ridiculous, but Tampa Bay here, running back, defensive tackle, edge, cornerback, guard. We had them pick a defensive tackle, edge, cornerback, and a running back here would be interesting. Who's available at running back? We're going to just, throw caution in the wind here. We're going to go with the top guy, and we're going to give them another edge defender here. We're going to give them a guy that might fit their defense a little bit better in Carlos Basham Jr. So Boogie Basham is the last pick in the second round. So, guys, we're going to finish this up in the third round. We're not going to continue on because, we could go on all day. So, the third round here, Jacksonville, you look over. Jacksonville took Jason away. They took Pat Freiermuth. They took Trayvon Moring. And they took Trevor Lawrence. So, this is not a bad roster, honestly, looking at it. So, what do the Jacksonville Jaguars do now? Well, now they need a defensive tackle since they just lost Tyson Alualu, who they thought committed to them. So they're going to go out and get Jay Tufele. He's going to take over for their defensive tackle position that they just lost due to Tyson Alualu leaving. The Jets here at 66. Well, we saw with what they did earlier, getting Najee Harris to shore up that running back room. I also really do like LaMichael Pirine, so I think that will work out well. And then they get Elijah Vera Tucker inside with Penei Sewell, and of course Becton. So the Jets here, they could go a few different ways. I'm looking at the Jets probably at this point in time, cornerback or linebacker, because we've already looked at the needs. So I look at Kelvin Joseph. That's an opportunity there. Or linebacker. I don't really like what I'm seeing here. Cameron McGrone is way better than 99th overall. So I kind of like Cameron McGrone. Pete Warner, I'm not really a big fan of. So for the Jets here, we're going to give them Kelvin Joseph to shore up that secondary. The Texans have more needs than anybody. They signed just a bunch of average level players with all of their, deals and everything. And I don't believe they've taken a pick yet. Their first pick is in the third round. So they're a mess. Okay, Nick Caserio is trying to right the ship, but it is not easy. So what do? You go best available when you're a team this bad. And when you're a team this bad, you go best available. You are going to see guys at wide receiver that are interesting, but you're going to see guys like at guard, like Wyatt Davis, that are there that maybe shouldn't be there. And so I think that's where they'll go. They'll go best available here. They go out and get Wyatt Davis for their offensive line. I think it makes sense. Falcons here, you look at what the Falcons have done in this draft, going out and getting Trey Lance. And then, of course, just what they've been able to do, going out and getting Arthur Smith as well as their coach. So I actually really don't know where to go with the Falcons here. Ifeatu Melifonwu at corner. You have Trey Lance. So I guess, you look at the Falcons, there are a lot of places you can go. Safety, running back, corner, guard. Let's look at running back. What makes sense for them? Michael Carter, kind of Gainwell, I think makes a lot of sense. Then safety, you have here Javon Holland is still there. I'm going to go with Holland here. I like that fit. He's going to take over for the fact they lost two safeties in KZ and Keanu Neal. So Javon Holland is going to take over in the back end of the secondary. Like that fit there. Moving on, the Bengals. Pick 69, nice. We have offensive tackle already taken, Rashawn Slater. Wide receiver, there has not been a wide receiver taken for the Bengals. Earlier, yes, there has. We gave him Rondell Moore. So we gave him Rondell Moore and Rashawn Slater. So what else do we need to do? Not get him another receiver. They're good there. Guard could help there. Tight end, defensive tackle. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to give Joe Burrow, Brevin Jordan. That's a big monster type of piece there. A tight end that I think is severely underrated. He's my tight end too, ahead of Freiermuth. I love his ability after the catch. He can hurdle guys. He needs to get better as a blocker, but I think this is a big-time weapon for Joe Burrow, and he's going to be in a offense that employs guys along the lines of Rondell Moore now. Is going to have Tyler Boyd and, T. Higgins they added, and still have, a guy in Auden Tate. So, I mean, the Bengals all of a sudden look pretty good on offense. So I do like that move to get Brevin Jordan. Now the Eagles here earlier gave them Baron Browning to shore up the middle of their defense. They also took Jalen Waddle in the first round. Now here at pick 70, what do the Eagles do? Well, they need a quarterback, wide receiver, corner, linebacker, tight end. They went with a wide receiver and linebacker. Could see corner here. I can't see quarterback for the life of me, but, who knows. Tyson Campbell, I think, makes sense here, so we'll go with Tyson Campbell. And pick 71 for the Denver Broncos. Broncos, of course, linebacker, edge, quarterback, running back, safety. I don't believe in the quarterback spot. I do like Drew Lock a lot. So you have Richie Grant and you have Micah Parsons. So once again, helping out Vic Fangio's defense. And they really dedicated last year's draft to helping the offense. So it's not a shock that this would end up being a defensive draft. Now, looking at this, though, when you go back and you see what they've done so far, Parsons is a huge pickup, and so is Richie Grant. Maybe go out and get another corner. And, obviously they get Kyle Fuller, but if they get another corner, maybe get a little bit younger, I don't think that's a horrible idea. Now, I could also see them double dipping on edge. They go out and get Ronnie Perkins. I think that makes sense. So we're going to give him Perkins here. Keep building up that Vic Fangio defense. Now with the Lions, you gave Jared Goff Jamar Chase. So you gave Jared Goff Jamar Chase. Then you look at the second round here. You gave him Nick Bolton. So the Lions have Nick Bolton and Jamar Chase. Good-looking draft so far. You have a linebacker in the middle, very versatile, very athletic. He's going to help out. And then, of course, the wide receiver is going to help out Goff. You look at cornerback and safety. There's not a ton here that I like. I think safety, Hufanga could be there. So I'm going to look at, all here. And I'm going to say Trey Smith becomes a very interesting piece here to replace Ode Abushi. And they don't have it in here, but that is what I'm going to do here. Ode Abushi gets replaced by Trey Smith. Makes sense for me. Makes sense for the Lions. So moving on, Carolina got their franchise quarterback earlier in this draft in Zach Wilson. And now, after the second round, Carolina, they went with... maybe they didn't even have a pick in the second round. It doesn't look like they did. So, okay, so Carolina, they went with Elijah Moore. So they have three Moores on the roster and Anderson. So their wide receiver room is set. So you look at wide receiver and quarterback, they're taken care of. And then you have corner, offensive tackle, safety, and linebacker. And right here, I'm looking at the offensive tackle out of Northern Iowa, Spencer Brown. Makes sense. There he goes to Carolina. Washington maybe shocked a little bit of people when they took Mac Jones in the second round. They also ended up with Zaven Collins. They're putting on a show in this, so far. So they have another third round pick coming up pretty shortly. They already addressed their need at linebacker. They got a quarterback, safety, tackle, and wide receiver. So we'll see what they do here. Safety, Hufanga does make sense. Corner, Trill Williams, Paulson Adebo. There's not a ton of guys here, and this isn't a great cornerback class. So I'm not looking at any of these guys and thinking, wow, these guys could really help big time in the third round. And that's pretty much my biggest issue with going with need only, and a Hufanga at safety. So I think I'm just going to give him Hufanga here, and then move on with the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys corner, safety, defensive tackle, offensive tackle. Well, we gave him Patrick Surtain, and then we went out and we paired Patrick Surtain, with the addition of Hamza Nasruddin. So we're helping out the back end in that secondary. We're hoping that Dak Prescott doesn't have to throw the ball 60 times to win a football game in doing so. So the Cowboys here, we're going to go defensive line. We're going to try to shore up that defensive line, and we're going to give him Davion Nixon, and help out that defensive line. The Giants here, edge, center, guard, wide receiver, linebacker. Earlier, we gave him Kyle Pitts. Thought that was huge. Gave him Creed Humphrey to shore up the center position. And now you're looking here at the guard spot, potentially. I do think they could use an upgrade at guard. And who's available here? Well, we have Ben Cleveland, somebody that tested out of this world. Ben Cleveland makes a lot of sense here at 76. Moving on to 77, the Chargers here. Offensive tackle, cornerback, guard, tight end, wide receiver. Saw them get Amon-Ra St. Brown and Christian Darrisaw, so helping out that offense. But I think it's time to give Brandon Staley a piece for his defense. And I think that comes with the cornerback position. Trill Williams out of Syracuse makes a lot of sense. So I have him going there. Raiders have a back-to-back coming up, but the Vikings come before them. Vikings first, they picked Jalen Phillips. And then the second round, they didn't have a pick, it looks like here. So they picked Jalen Phillips in the second round to shore up that edge spot. Jalen Phillips, guard, safety, tackle. So guard, safety, tackle. Look here. There's not a ton at the tackle spot. I don't think Walker Little is the next best thing. I do think it's Carmen. But I don't necessarily know if they'll go in that direction. Then guard, Kendrick Green's more of a center, so I wouldn't say that. And then, let's see, what's the other one? Safety. Yeah, I mean, let's replace Anthony Harris. I'm going to go with James Wiggins here. He's a little low on this, but I'm a big fan of Wiggins, and I like that move. So James Wiggins it is at 78. Then the Raiders at 79 and 80 back-to-back. First off, they started off with Caleb Farley at 17th overall. Then the second round, they had Tevin Jenkins, so they added more to the offensive line that they disassembled. So now you look and I think they have more need at offensive line. But I'm going to give him Jackson Carman here because I think he could play guard or tackle. Makes sense there. Then this pick here, I do think that they're going to want to potentially replace Nelson Aguilar. Not the speed because they have that in Henry Ruggs the third, but I do think that going out and getting maybe a bigger receiver might make sense. Is there a guy there? I don't really see a guy that's big enough. Maybe an Emir Smith-Marset might be a little too early there. So I'm looking and thinking, the Raiders here could go a few different ways. They did add Kenyon Drake, so running back is off the table to go with Josh Jacobs. Safety, cornerback, they already added Caleb Farley, so at safety, Ardarius Washington I think makes sense. Caden Stearns. I think they're going to like Shaun Wade. I just have a feeling, and I can hear them already saying Shaun Wade, so I'm going to go with Shaun Wade. And then Miami at 81. Let's look at what they did. Landon Dickerson, their center, so he's going to reunite with Tua. And who else is going to reunite with Tua? Devontae Smith. So that is something there. And then we added Samuel Cosme, so helping out the offense for Tua. If you want him to succeed, you got to help him out on offense. I think they could go ahead and get another wide receiver. They can go ahead and get another running back. So right now, the way I see it, you have a running back here, Michael Carter, Kenneth Gainwell. I think Gainwell is the better running back here. Makes sense. Add Gainwell, helping that offense. Washington is up again after picking Hufanga. This to me is a best player available type of move. And there are some guys here that I really like for Washington, but I'm going to go ahead and give them Hunter Long out of Boston College, help that tight end position, add some more value there. The Bears here at 83. We look at the Bears. They added Eichenberg there to help out the tackle position. They added Rashad Bateman for Allen Robinson, insurance policy. But also on top of that, if they don't have to worry about letting go of Allen Robinson or trading Allen Robinson, then he could play with him because he's a good player. So now you look, cornerback, quarterback, offensive tackle, wide receiver, defensive tackle. I'm looking right now, with the wide receiver already off the board, and then they went ahead and got Eichenberg. I'm thinking cornerback after letting go of Kyle Fuller. And here there's not a ton here, but I'm going to go with Paulson Adebo out of Stanford. And then the Eagles, they took Baron Browning and they took Jalen Waddle. So the Eagles, they might want to replace somebody in the back end of their secondary because they lost a few guys. I think that they could probably go, with a guy. And again, this is a little out of order for me, but Ambry Thomas, I do think makes sense. The Titans at 85. The Titans are starting to look real good, and we did give them a big-time deep threat in Dwayne Eskridge. Earlier, they went ahead and they drafted Greg Newsome, so they had a corner and a wide receiver here. Now the Titans, the corner wide receiver off of the books, and now you could go with a tight end. You lost Jonnu Smith. How about go with Tommy Tremble at Notre Dame? I like the fit there. Tommy Tremble to the Titans. The Jets here at 86. Well, the Jets in the second round, they went ahead and they added Najee Harris. They bolstered their running back group on top of having Penei Sewell and going out and getting Elijah Vera Tucker. So they're helping out their offense. I like what they're doing, obviously, in our mock here. Then defense, they go out and get Kelvin Joseph at the beginning of the third to help out their secondary. So what can the Jets do here? Linebacker, I think, is probably the way that they'll go. They go out and get Cameron McGrone from Michigan. Like the fit, McGrone goes to the Jets here. Moving on to the Steelers. The Steelers just found out, it was breaking news, during this thing. They found out they are going to be getting, I totally forgot his name, Tyson Alu back. So because they're getting Tyson Alu back, they don't really need to do as much in the interior for the defensive line. They have a center problem, which we've already fixed by we added Quinn Miners here at 55. And they have potentially a tight end hole, a running back hole. So, look at, what they've done so far. Leatherwood going out and getting him, Miners, and then the third round here, do they go tackle or do they go tight end or where do they go? I think tackle here, Brady Christensen probably is the best option. Walker Little could be an option. The fourth running back, I really like Trey Sermon. I think it might be a little bit of a reach. Even though I have him really high on my board, I know a lot of people don't. I know the NFL probably doesn't, and so he might be easier to get later on. Kenny Yeboah would be a cool fit. I don't mind that at all. So if I'm looking, to be honest with you, I wouldn't mind going out and replacing, because now you have a hole at cornerback since for whatever reason you let him go. Wouldn't mind if you go out and replace, what's his name? Steven Nelson. So there's a few ways that they can go here. And we're going to go here. We're going to, I don't think they need an edge, to be honest with you. So I'm looking at potentially going with Walker Little, but it does seem a little bit like a reach. I do like Deontay Smith, Kenny Yeboah. I'm kind of sold on. Yeah, I really do like Kenny Yeboah, but I just think it's so important right now to go with offensive line. So I'm gonna give him Walker Little. They don't go running back here because I think they need to shore up their offensive line first. Walker Little it is. He's a more veteran like offensive tackle. I think he's going to have a higher floor. So I think he'll help the Steelers hurry up and get to where they need to go quickly. Now the Rams pick here, and this is a no-brainer for me. Jordan Smith out of UAB, the edge defender. Look, he's going to have a chance to be maybe the best pass rusher in this draft. His spin move is incredible. I think he just is 6'6", 250-pound size. It's exactly what the Rams would want. It's that frame that they're looking at. When you look at a Leonard Floyd, that's exactly what they're looking for. When you're looking at Terrell Lewis, exactly what they're looking for. So they get Jordan Smith. They don't have to worry about the injury history. Terrell Lewis, they still have, but they are very concerned. Everything that I've been told is that they're very concerned with him moving forward. So they go ahead and get Jordan Smith there, and I think it makes sense. The Browns now. Oh, man, they have 2 picks coming up. They're already bolstering their roster, getting Nico Collins, a guy that can go up and get the ball, and Azeez Ojulari. So now you look at that. They have 2 more picks here, and the Browns, they still could go out and get a linebacker. They could go out and get a defensive tackle. So, linebacker, we'll look here. Pete Werner. I personally am not a huge fan of the linebackers, besides Wallow and Snowden, but, I could see them going with these guys. And then what was the other one here? Defensive tackle that they could go after is Aleem McNeil, which I think this is where we're going to go here. So Aleem McNeil. And then the Vikings, the Browns are going to take a quick break from drafting because the Vikings are up next, and then the Browns again. Edge, guard, safety, and tackle. We gave the Vikings earlier. They didn't have a second-round pick, but in the first round, the Vikings took, let's see here. Why can't I find it? Jalen Phillips. So they got an edge defender. Could see them going guard here. There's not really too many guys, though, that I'm looking at for guard. So safety, Ardarius Washington is an option. Tackle, I actually see Deontay Smith. So we'll go with that. Browns are back up on the clock, and I would imagine that they're looking at a linebacker. We'll give him Chaz Surratt out of North Carolina. Solid fit there. 92 overall, the Packers. First off, the Packers, they went ahead and they added Kadarius Toney to that offense. Then they go and they get Elijah Molden at the back end of the secondary. So the Packers are starting to help themselves a little bit. Cornerbacks taken care of. Wide receivers taken care of. Now you have tackle, linebacker, defensive tackle. I could definitely see the Packers going with another guy. I don't know if they will, but I could see them going with another offensive guy. Tackle, I just don't know if it's worth it at this point. Maybe a Brady Christensen, or James Hudson, but I don't know if they would go that route. So I'm looking at it and looking at the linebacker group and thinking they'll probably go linebacker. Pete Werner seems like a guy that they would consider. I'm actually gonna give him Garrett Wallow. I think Wallow fits them better, and I think he's a stud. So I like Wallow there. The Bills at 93 overall. The second round they have Aaron Robinson, Gregory Rousseau, so they're building up that defense. And I think the Bills could go out and they could get Yeboah. So I actually like that fit. Going out, getting Yeboah to team up with Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox has had a hard time staying healthy, so Ole Miss's Kenny Yeboah is going to come there and help out the passing game. Hopefully be more reliable. The Chiefs at 94, Josh Myers is who we gave him to in the second. And then Jalen Mayfield. So we're helping the offensive line, but they are losing Sammy Watkins. So do they go wide receiver here? We got them a center and a tackle, linebacker and wide receiver are needs. So linebacker here, Pete Werner, I think makes sense. He's a guy that I think that they would like. So Pete Werner there. The Buccaneers again are on the clock. They added Basham to go with Levi. We'll just call him Onwuzurike. Yeah, I definitely didn't say that correctly, but they are building that defense. They already have so many pieces. It's incredible. So I think at this point, they'll just go ahead and grab Michael Carter since he's still there. So Buccaneers get another running back in Michael Carter. Patriots here I like what they're doing so far. They've been a team I've seen overdraft quarterbacks before. Now the Patriots, running back, corner, wide receiver, quarterback, linebacker, they've already gone ahead and they've added a ton this offseason. They added JOK, Jeremiah Owusu Koromoa. They went ahead and added Travis Etienne at running back. And now looking at the Patriots, what could they do? Corner, wide receiver, quarterback, linebacker. I don't necessarily think they need a wide receiver, but there are some guys that make them consider cornerback, quarterback, and linebacker. So we'll look at corner. Don't see them going there. Maybe Robert Rochelle. And then the quarterback position, I can see. I'm gonna have him take I'm gonna have him take Davis Mills here. And again, they've overdrafted quarterback before, so people will be surprised. But I like Davis Mills a lot more than Kyle Trask. I think he makes sense as a guy to develop. So Davis Mills in the 3rd round to the Patriots. And he could potentially start down the road, like quicker than people think. So the Chargers now, you look at what they've done in this draft, getting Trill Williams in the back end of the secondary, going out and getting Amon-Ra St. Brown to be another weapon. And then they have Christian Darrisaw. So right now, I think you're going to give Brandon Staley another opportunity to go best available on defense. And, I think he'll look a little bit here and just, come to terms with the fact that I do think, you look at what somebody like a Morgan Fox meant to the defense last year for the Rams. And in that case, kind of that 5 tech, Peyton Turner makes sense. And I think Peyton Turner's a little bit early, according to this board, but Peyton Turner makes sense. Well, actually, it's really not early. Peyton Turner makes sense as a guy that can play the 5 tech. And, I think that's where they could go here. The Saints, they added Terrace Marshall, so they got another wide receiver, Kwity Paye. So now they'll go here. We'll see wide receiver, linebacker, cornerback, defensive tackle, safety. They could still go with the linebacker, defensive tackle. I'm going to give them Tommy Togiai at defensive tackle. Cowboys at 99 overall. Cornerback, safety, defensive tackle, offensive tackle. Cowboys have done a nice job of kind of retooling their team. So far, the Cowboys have ended up grabbing... We had Hamza Nasruddin and we had Patrick Surtain Jr. So now the Cowboys here believe this. Oh, they also grabbed Davion Nixon in the trenches. So now you have those guys taken care of. Offensive tackles next. Who do you have at offensive tackle? I think James Hudson makes sense. And then the Titans, not the tight ends, cornerback, wide receiver, tight end, safety, offensive tackle. What did the Titans do before? Well, we look, and they got Dwayne Eskridge, and they also got Greg Newsome. So they a wide receiver and a cornerback. I thought they had another pick, but apparently not. Tommy Tremble. That's why I thought they had another pick, because they did. Okay, so wide receiver, cornerback, tight end, safety, and offensive tackles left. Offensive tackle, you have Brady Christensen, who could be an option. Safety of Ardarius Washington. I kind of like that fit more, so I'm going to go with that. And then you have at pick 101 for the Detroit Lions. They've done a nice job. First off, they went out and got Jared Goff, Jamar Chase, and then Nick Bolton to help out that middle of the defense, and then Trey Smith to help out replace Ode Abushi on the offensive line. So now could go another wide receiver. I do like what they're doing with the wide receivers. Linebacker's good. Could you go quarterback? You could. So that is interesting. Corner and safety are also on the table. I'm going to have them go with Benjamin St. Just, and I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, and I'm assuming I didn't, but I like that fit. Now, for the 49ers, they went and got Justin Fields, and then we gave them, I believe, Eric Stokes. Third rounder was traded to the Miami Dolphins. So now they could go edge, center, defensive tackle. I kind of see Patrick Jones as a 49er, but I also see Quincy Roche. So I'm going to go with Patrick Jones. Rams are on the clock here. What do they do? There's a lot of options. I'm going to go with Kendrick Green here. I think he makes so much sense for the Rams. Developmental center that could also play guard. And so, I look at what the Rams have, going out, getting Blythe back. If you're not going to re-sign Blythe, you have a problem. In my opinion, you have to bring him back. But I think that's their plan. And so by bringing him back, you go out, you get Kendrick Green. This is why, folks, I didn't have the Rams picking a center at 57. I think it's a waste. I don't think they need to do that. Don't pick a second-round pick on a Super Bowl level roster that can't contribute tomorrow. Okay, just because he could doesn't mean he will. And that's the thing, is you're picking a guy that's not going to start in all likelihood. Can't get behind that. That's why the Dylan Moses pick, to me, makes a lot of sense. Getting Jordan Smith, who can also start, makes sense. Kendrick Green at the back end of the third with a compensatory pick, to me, made a lot of sense. And he could, eventually be a starter 1 to 2 years down the road. So, last two picks of this mock. I know it goes on, but we're not going to do that. I'm running out of gas. I know, surprising I'm running out of energy. I know I sound very energetic. I'm talking a lot, but it is taking the wind out of me. So, we have the Ravens at pick 104. What have we done for the Ravens? I've already forgotten. So, let's go back. The Ravens. First round, we gave the Ravens Christian Barmore to help out that defensive line. They're a little old. I liked adding some youth to that defensive line. Plus, I think he's a really good player. Then they got Joseph Osai. They missed out on Nico Collins. I actually love the Nico Collins Baltimore fit, so I think I'm an idiot for doing that, but it is what it is. And then that was it. So the Ravens here sitting there, they drafted interior defensive line. They drafted edge, but they have not drafted a wide receiver yet. And I'm sure fans are probably livid that I've done this, but it is what it is. I do like, however, there's a receiver here that I do like at this particular position, and that to me is a guy by the name of Jalen Darden. So Darden goes to the Baltimore Ravens at pick 104. And are you making that up? That would be huge. Andre Drummond to the Lakers? I'd be so happy. I'm going to look that up right now. That's awesome. That's what I wanted. For those of you that know me, I'm a Laker fan. This is what I wanted for the Lakers. I wanted Andre Drummond. Not because I think he's this phenomenal superstar. I just feel like, for me, that is who they should go after. Stop trading all these assets. That's why I didn't want to go out and get Kyle Fuller. I love it. Thank you so much for showing that. That is awesome. I'm very excited about that. All right, so to finish this off, because we are done with this stream afterwards, I might game a little bit later, but I have to gather my bearings because this is taking a lot out of me. This is my second stream of the day, and we've gone for, 2 hours? Almost 2 hours. So, yeah. So the Saints here, wide receiver, linebacker, cornerback, defense tackle, and safety are what they say. The needs are, what do we have here for the Saints? Well, we added Kwity Paye to their defense to give them kind of a piece there. Replace the edge defender that left in Trey Hendrickson. Terrace Marshall at wide receiver. And I think that's it. So this is their pick of the third round. It doesn't look like they have another pick. Oh, no, Tommy Togiai. That's who we went with. Okay, so who's going to be Mr. Irrelevant in the third round here? Linebacker. So we got cornerback, wide receiver, linebacker, defense tackle, safety. Gonna probably gander on a cornerback here. I'm gonna give the honors. I'm going to give the honors to Robert Rochelle, who at one point I thought could go in the back end of the 6th round and be a nice addition to the Rams. Robert Rochelle is our, I totally forgot about it, Mr. Irrelevant of this PFN mock draft simulator on the JE Live show. I hope you guys enjoy this. I thoroughly hope you guys enjoyed this because it did take a lot out of me, but it was a lot of fun. There wasn't a ton of interaction because I was going on a tangent, so I'm sorry if I wasn't, reading in the comments as well. But I'm I feel pretty good about this. If you're a Rams fan, which most of you are, you have to feel good about going out, grabbing this guy right here in Dylan Moses, this guy right here in Jordan Smith, and this guy right here in Kendrick Green. If they get those 3, man, that would be crazy because that means I would have gotten 3 picks right. 3 picks that I wanted to happen would have happened, which has never happened in the history of ever. But on top of it, I also think he would just be, those 3 would be huge for the Rams. So that is going to do it. I hope you guys enjoyed. I do. Yeah. That's the show. I don't know why that's... Okay. There we go. I'm trying to fix my show right now. All right. That's going to do it. I love y'all so much. If you could, please be sure to subscribe. Hit that thumbs up. Get the Twitter out... not the Twitter. The YouTube algorithm to like me. Go follow JK Bogan DTSN on Twitter. I interact with everyone. And what can I say, guys? I'm going to go drink probably a gallon of water because I'm dead. So I love you guys. You guys take care. I'll be back on Monday. If not, later on tonight, we'll do a video game stream. If you guys are interested in that, it'll be on the channel. Be sure to hit the bell icon. Anytime I go live, you will know it immediately. It will ring. So keep that in mind. But that's going to do it for me. Thank you guys so much. You guys take care. Have a great rest of your Saturday. And if we don't talk tonight, we'll talk soon. Sound good? Later.